All right, so officially I want to welcome you, Jessica Riverson, and my company has permission to charge. Today I am talking about the top 3 discovery session blunders and how you can avoid them, and a little bit about Soulful Sales. So I want to welcome EJ and Nomad and Lori. So glad that you're here. Please go ahead and post in the chat box what your specialty is, what kind of coach you are, and where you're coming in from. And if you would press the little button that says Tell a Birdie, that will let other coaches know this topic and they can join on in as well. All right, so just gonna go a little bit about me for a quick second and then I'll dive right in. For those of you that have been on my blabs before, I think this is my number 8 or 9th blab. And it's been great. I've just had such a good time connecting with people on here. And what I specialize in is working with coaches who are so passionate about what they do. They're so passionate about helping other people that it actually stands in their way of charging their worth. So what I do is do mental surgery on their money mindset so they feel confident about charging their worth. And then we properly price and package their expertise and then master the sales conversation. So the past few weeks, I've really been focusing on the sales conversation. And awesome indie coach, so product and revenue stream development. That's an awesome specialty. I love that. Very cool. Okay, so now that you guys know a little bit about what I specialize in, I'm going to get right into the top 3 discovery session blunders. There's actually a lot of discovery session blunders, and as I'm reviewing this list, these 3 come up a lot, and so I thought today would be a great time to talk about them because I'm currently running my sales program for coaches, teaching them how to book discovery sessions online and offline and how to do a discovery session. So this has been on my mind a lot lately, and I'm constantly getting questions every day from my clients that are in the program, situations that are happening with their discovery sessions. So my goal is to shorten the learning curve for them and help them to close more of those discovery sessions. So before I get into the top 3 things, the top 3 blunders, I just want to say something that I always say, which is if you are a coach, your number 1 priority should be, as far as you're building your business, should be consultations on your calendar, or you can say discovery sessions on your calendar. It's really, really important that you constantly have a steady flow of discovery sessions or consults, whatever you call them, coming in as a coach. And so just keep that in mind if that's something that you look at your calendar and you go, gosh, I really don't have that many discovery sessions, that's something you really want to be focused on. Hey there, if you're just joining, welcome. Tell us what kind of coach you are, what your specialty is, or if you're a service provider of another kind, that's fine too. This will definitely help you. All right, so top 3. The first one is probably what I'm doing right now, is talking too much. So you want to be careful that when you're doing a discovery session that you're listening more than talking. So if you are doing most of the talking in a discovery session, then that is something that will actually create a situation where you end up coaching the client, which is blunder number 2, or you end up giving the client so much information that they either feel overwhelmed, they feel like they can now go solve the problem themselves. You've just basically inundated them with information, which makes it difficult for them to see that your program is the solution to their problem. Thanks for the props. I guess you agree with me. That's awesome. So hi, those of you that are just Mihar, Korea, nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. So we're talking about the blunders, top 3 blunders, and I'm just going over number 1, which is talking too much. So one of the things that you might want to do for yourself is if you're using this is my cell phone. So if you're using your phone, you're on the phone. When you ask a question, you can actually mute yourself so that you don't jump in and talk too much. You want to have enough, when you're asking open-ended questions, for example, since I'm a business coach, I'm asking, what's your biggest challenge in your business? That might be a question that I would ask at the beginning of a discovery session. Thank you, Indie Coach. I appreciate that. So what you can do is you can actually mute your phone and allow them to keep talking. And so it's kind of like if you go to, I remember when I was a teenager and I went to a therapist's office, and I swear she didn't say anything. I mean, I sat in the chair and she just like looked at me, and I ended up talking for the whole hour. And every time I came there, that's what happened. And I just thought, why doesn't she ask me any questions? So you don't want to be quite that weird. But, when you ask them a question, give them time to talk and let like 3 seconds of pause go by. Allow them to, it doesn't have to be this long, awkward silence. But if you mute your phone and you look and, you watch the time go by before you unmute your phone and rush in to say something, they'll say more. And so you really want your prospective client to talk to you. You want to hear more and more and more about what's going on for them emotionally, physically, mentally. Like, I want to know all the aspects of how their current challenge is affecting their business. If you're a relationship coach or a health coach or a spiritual type of coach or a life coach or whatever type of coach you are, you want to hear from them. You want them to talk to you instead of you talking at them. And what's going to happen is when you listen more, you're going to be taking notes, right? And you're going to, what I do is a lot of times I'll either like highlight, let me get my highlighter. Like I'll use a highlighter, and I might go back and like highlight things that they say, or I'll just take my pen and circle things that they say. For example, when I ask, what's your biggest challenge? And you might say, like, I'm going to say, what's your biggest challenge in your business? You might say to your clients, what's the biggest challenge with your health or with your social media or whatever it is that the problem that you solve. And so then when they tell me exactly what it is, I'll go back and I'll circle so that when I come around to present my solution and how I can support them and help them, I will be able to really pinpoint the things that they said and use their words. That's really important. You don't want to repeat back to them in your own words. You want to repeat back to them in their words. So that's the reason why you don't want to talk too much, is because you want them to give you all the information, and then you're going to be able to share that back with them and say, okay, so I understand you want to solve this, this, and this, and you're saying it in their words. So that is blunder number 1, and that's a tip for you to avoid that, is to use the mute button on your phone so that you're not, especially if you're in the habit of just rushing in to say stuff. You can also put a Post-it note on your desk or in front of you that says, shut up, and just remind yourself to like, be quiet, don't say anything. And I want to just give another quick story about that. I remember doing a discovery session with someone who was interested in one of my group programs. And what did I say to her? Yes. Okay. So she gave me I can't afford it. And I know this call isn't about handling objections, but this is a bonus for you. She said, I can't afford it. And so I said what I love to ask, my empowering question. I said, well, how can you afford it? And then I was quiet. I just shut up. I was quiet. I didn't say anything. And to me, it felt like the longest pause. And she said, well, I could put half down on Friday and pay the remainder the next week. I was like, there you go. Perfect. So there's a lot to be said for being quiet and just allowing someone to process, whether it's right after you've presented your solution or you've asked them another question. If there's a long silence, like, that's okay. A lot of times people for me, I found a lot of people say, okay, I'd like to sign up. Sometimes they need to process what you've said, or they need to process what the investment is, and it may not have been what they were thinking. But if you rush in and start talking, you can literally talk yourself out of it. And I've talked myself out of many sales in the past. And nowadays I convert between usually around 78 to 80% of the discovery sessions I do lead to clients, which is why I'm so passionate about teaching this to my students as well. All right, so welcome, Preston. By the way, if you guys want to find out about the program I'm talking about, this is shameless self-promotion here. That's the link to my sales program for coaches. All right, so since we've got a lot of people popping on here, would you guys help me out and press this little button that says Tell a Little Bird? For some reason, I'm not seeing them on the side, and I don't know why they're not populating, but Would love for you to tweet that out and let other people know about this topic. And I don't know why it's not showing up on mine, but I'll go on to our second blunder, which is coaching. Okay, so I know some coaches have been taught that they should do a free coaching session first and then enroll the client into coaching. So if you do things that way, what I am talking about today is not that way. I am suggesting that you do not coach on the first session, and you don't coach on your discovery sessions. And the reason being is because, at least in the way that I teach it, if you coach someone, sometimes they can feel like, well, I've solved my problem. In reality, you know that their problem isn't solved, because most of us are not able to provide enough support in one session. I mean, it really depends what you're coaching on, but for the most part, all of you have probably created a program. And if someone has one session of your program, have they really gotten the full transformation? No, they haven't. So coaching someone on a discovery session is actually detrimental, because it doesn't build the desire to want to work with you as much. Now, I know some of you are thinking like, oh, well, I do that and it works for me. If it works for you, more power to you. I think that's awesome. And I know it does work for some people, and a lot of coaches teach that method. I personally just don't teach that method. I think that it's better to definitely show the value, definitely ask questions. I think that most people that do a discovery session with me feel that they've been coached just because of the questions that I ask them. So it can feel like a coaching session, but when you get into actually telling them how, let me say this the right way. If you're asking them questions that are in your discovery session process, but you start coaching them on how to solve it instead of just listening. Remember, that was blunder number one, is not listening and talking too much. So if you start coaching them, then you're taking them out of the sales process. So I'm glad you agree. And I want to say hi to everyone else who came on. Michael, Colby, Boza 19. If you're a coach, please post what kind of coach you are, so we can all kind of collaborate here. What kind of coach are you? What's your specialty? Where are you from? I want to know all of that. And I've already gone over blunder number one, which is talking too much and not allowing the prospective client to do most of the talking. A design mentor. Awesome. That's very cool. Now we're on blunder number two, which is coaching in a discovery session. Some of you may call what you do a consultation. I don't know what kind of design mentor you are, but I've worked with a client that's an interior designer, even though mainly I work with coaches and consultants. But interior designers have a similar service model in that they do a consultation. So even in your consultation, if you were to start giving too many recommendations, then the person's going to feel like they just need to like go and focus on your recommendations and like get that stuff done. And we all know, because we're expert at what we do, that it's hard for someone else to go and implement the recommendations without our support. Product experience and service design. Awesome, Darius. That sounds really cool. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, and go ahead and post questions, you guys. I'd love to hear what you feel some of your blunders are when you're doing a consult or a discovery session. Maybe I can speak to that and share some other stories. And if you could press the Tell a Little Birdie button, I'd love to share this with more coaches that might need to hear this message. For some reason, I just cannot see the tweets that are going out. I'm assuming you guys are all tweeting, but it's just not showing up. Can someone tell me if it's showing up on your end, on this, I think it's on this side of your screen. Does it show you who's tweeting? I would love to know if that's actually working. All right. So, hey, Joe, nice to see you. Welcome. Hey, Janet, nice to see you. All right. So now we are getting on to blunder number 3 of just doing your discovery sessions and consults. So blunder number 3 is getting into fear. And what that looks like is, oh my gosh, they're not going to sign up. So you're like panicky, you're like sweating and you can't breathe. So your mind is telling you, oh my gosh, they might not sign up. getting into fear about whether they can afford it or not, it's really not your business whether a client can afford it or not. It's not your place to assume. It's not your place to judge. It's not your place to save and be a savior. You're there. They've come to you ideally through a consult or a discovery session. They've seen your offer. They've booked a discovery session. They most likely have the problem that you solve if you've pre-qualified them correctly. And so they're coming to you for your expertise. So it's when you provide your solution, which is your coaching program, it's not your job to make a lot of assumptions about their money situation. So if you're getting into fear, which is, I don't think they can afford it. What if I don't sign up this client? If you're in any kind of feeling like you have to enroll them, which starts to get into kind of like greediness, or it's not even greed, but it's almost like a forced pressure on yourself that like you have to enroll this person because you have to pay your rent or something. Or if you get it, hey Jim, if you get into any convincing energy where you're starting to try to like convince them, or you feel like you have to convince them to work with you, those are going to backfire on you. And I talk about the four yucky, I call them yucky energies, the four yucky energies that you want to stay out of when you're doing a discovery session. I talk about that in my sales program for coaches, which is why I'm doing this blab today, because I'm currently running the program. And so I'm just handling a lot of these type of questions, and I wanted to share it with all of you. So here's a tip for you. And this actually comes from my Soulful sales script. So those that are in the program, I know who do we have on? I thought I saw someone on that's actually in my program, but this is the Soulful sales script. It's 2 pages. And at the top, it gives you a couple of reminders. So I thought I would share those with you. The first one is that your mission must be bigger than your ego. So if you ever get into the fear, the doubt, what if they don't sign up? What if they can't afford it? All of that kind of stuff. What if they don't think my program's good enough? Then you can kind of check yourself and go, oh, that's my ego talking. My ego is getting involved, and it's creating all this, mind chatter, and it's causing anxiety. It's causing me to over talk, over deliver, start to coach them, kind of convince them by showing what a good coach I am. And that's really not what the discovery session is about. It's not necessarily for you to convince anyone, because clients are enrolling in their own transformation through a discovery session. So the good news is you don't have to convince anyone of anything. Now, I do teach you how to handle objections, but I think handling objections is in service to the prospective client, because if they come to you and say that they have this particular problem, but then they go, I can't afford it, I don't have time, this, that, and the other thing, then it's in service to them to address each of those objections to find out if that's really the story. Because most often why we don't sign up for a coaching program that we know is something that's going to be good for us is fear. And so it doesn't help if you get into fear yourself, which is blunder number 3 if you're just joining. It doesn't help for you to get in fear. So you always want to remember this statement: your mission must be bigger than your ego. So again, this is on the script here. And so you can just say, oh, thank you, ego, but I don't need your help right now. And what that does is it gets you out of your head, because here's the thing. One of the biggest fears that I always hear is, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be inauthentic. I don't want people to think I'm just in it for the money. And it's like, oh my gosh, like nobody got into coaching, I don't think, just for the money, because it's pretty intense work. I find being a coach, and I've done before business coaching, I did a lot of different type of like life coaching and things like that. I've worked with clients on all different topics, and it's a lot of work, right? So, I mean, even though you can make amazing money as a coach, I don't think there's very many coaches that really got into it just for that reason. So the problem is we do have that fear. We start to worry that people are going to think that about us. And so what happens is those thoughts, the ego talking, is what takes us out of the present moment. So the very thing that we fear, the thing that we're fearing being inauthentic, being pushy, seeming like we only care about money. Those things that we're fearing are actually getting in our way because we're in our ego. So we actually have to check it at the door, realize, okay, that's my ego talking. and get out of that, say like, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to be in my ego right now, and get back into the present moment. Being in the present moment is you listening, not prejudging, not judging yourself, not being in fear. And that will make you more authentic. That will give create an authentic connection with you and the person you're having a discovery session with. So go ahead and post. I would love to hear, like, what is your coaching specialty? Where are you from? Hey, everybody. I see there's Kevin, David, Consult Me group. Awesome. And the program that I keep mentioning, I'm going to post it again here. This is the sales program that I offer for coaches. You will notice the marketing is definitely geared towards female coaches, but I do have men that are in the program, and well, they're in the home study version. But you are going to, if you're a guy and you're interested, you're going to get a ton of value. It's not just for women. It's just that a lot of my marketing is geared towards women because that's typically my demographic. I want to share with you before I go the two other pillars of soulful sales that I teach in my sales program, because I think you'll really like it. So the first one I already mentioned. I've already gone through the 3 blunders, by the way, if you're just joining. But I want to just share with you the 3 pillars of soulful sales, which is part of my sales program. And so the first one, I already said that your mission must be bigger than your ego. So if you like that, give me props. There's these yellow hands down there. If that's a mantra that you can use to help you before a discovery session, give me props. Thank you. I'm glad that you like that. The second one is sales is service. And this is not completely unique. A lot of sales coaches are teaching this. But if you can start to view that sales is really service, that can help shift your mindset, because the kind of people that are attracted to my work, they're so passionate about helping other people that it actually stands in their way from charging their worth and from having, effective sales conversations. So if you're in that boat where you're that soulful entrepreneur and you're just all about helping people, and so sometimes the business side of things really get you stuck, then using this reframe in your mind about looking at sales as service can really help, because you're there to be of service. You're there to take them through a specific process so they can enroll in their own transformation. And I think if you start to view your discovery sessions that way, it will be much easier for you to have effective discovery sessions that result in the client wanting to enroll. And the thing is, they're not so much enrolling in working with you. I mean, yes, they're enrolling and working with you, but first and foremost, they're investing and enrolling in their own transformation through your program. And so that's why it's very important that you do have a results-oriented program that is, tailored just to your ideal client versus trying to offer, something willy-nilly to different people. Like today, I'm going to offer you this program. Tomorrow, I'm going to offer you this program. The third part of the third pillar in the Soulful Sales Method is that enrollment is partnership. So if you can think about, I think I use the word sales a lot because I want you to have a context for what I'm talking about, but sales has such a negative connotation, right? And so that's why in my sales program, the first module, we talk about like, what are your limiting beliefs about a salesperson or sales? We have to clear away the cobwebs, all the yucky stuff that we have around sales. But if you can start to think about sales as enrollment, right? So, it's a sales conversation, but really it's an enrollment conversation. And if you can think of enrollment as partnership, then you can start to really feel like you're getting on that person's team. So when you're doing a discovery session, you're not trying to sell them something. You're guiding them to enroll in their own transformation. You're supporting them in making an empowered decision, and you're enrolling them into partnering with you. So by entering into your program or your products, they're partnering with you, especially if it's one-on-one coaching. They're partnering with you to achieve a specific result. So those are the 3 pillars of soulful sales. Your mission must be bigger than your ego. Sales is service. And number 3, enrollment is partnership. And to just reiterate the top 3 discovery session blunders, the first one I shared was talking too much. So you're not listening enough in your discovery session. The second one was coaching. So getting into a coaching session when it's actually a discovery session to discover if you guys are a good fit to work together. And then the third one was getting into fear, which is really being in your ego. So I hope you enjoyed these 3 tips plus the 3 Soulful Sales Method pillars. And if you really are in need of a script like this and you need to be trained on how exactly to do a discovery session, you can still hop into our program. We're on call number 2 tomorrow, so you haven't missed a ton. I'm going to post, the link is right there, you guys. If you don't see it, I'm going to share it again. Hey, Tish. But if you're in need of some intense training on how to do a discovery session in a way that feels good for you, if you're not sure what you need to do before a discovery session to properly prepare not only yourself, but your prospective client, because you want them entering into that discovery session already totally jazzed about you, totally excited about working with you, and pretty much like ready to enroll before you even have the conversation. So there's some little things that you can do to make that happen. And that's also what I teach in the training. Hey, Grace. Oh, it's great, Gracie. At Gracie too. Awesome. How are you? Tell us what kind of coach you are and what your specialty is. I'd love to hear that. If you're in need of that, check out the program. You can still enter in. I think we have 8 spots available in the program right now. And it's every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, but it's all recorded. It's all on a membership site. And it's 2 payments of $297 or 1 payment of $497. So I want to make sure you all know about that. And I'm going to hop off. I'm not seeing questions right now. And I'm not seeing the tweets on the side. So I think maybe there's a little glitch with Blab, or maybe there's a glitch on my end today. But if you wouldn't mind, oh, it's okay, Gracie. Don't even worry about it. What kind of business are you in? I'm just glad that you're here. You know, it's fun to pop into other people's Blabs and just randomly see what people are talking about. But if you guys would press tell a little birdie, and that will let people know about this Blab. Multi-person. Okay, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to be closing this up. I hope you guys found value. If you did, please give me props with the yellow hands. That lets me know that you did find value today, and I really appreciate you being here. If you would follow me, I'm doing Blabs about 3 times a week, consistently every Friday, and then I'm trying to pop in on Monday and maybe Tuesday or Wednesdays as well. So follow me on Blabs so that you can listen to my other Blabs. I think I have about 8 previous Blabs. Lawyer and Mary Kay, that's awesome. That's really cool. Love Mary Kay products, and that's awesome being a lawyer. And oh, you're so welcome, Israel. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm so sorry, but you are so welcome. And if you are a female entrepreneur, you can join my Facebook group. Let me grab you guys the link because I totally forgot to do that. And I'm not meaning to exclude men, but I created this women's entrepreneur group, and they definitely told me, they're like, we want to keep it women entrepreneurs. So we have not opened that one up to men, but we've got about 400 awesome female entrepreneurs. So if you want to join that group, it's the Permission to Charge community. My company is Permission to Charge. So I just posted the link to the Facebook group. I'd love to have you, those of you that fit that description, if you would join us. We're mostly coaches and healers and service providers in that group. And do check out the sales program for coaches if that's something where you're really stuck, because I'm going to teach you how to do a discovery session. You're going to get the script. You're also going to get all of the strategies that I've used to book discovery sessions through Facebook, through webinars, through Blab, in fact. Where else have I booked discovery sessions? Through my blog, through my Facebook group, through my business page, and through email marketing. So I'm going to be teaching you all those strategies, because if you are a coach, your number one focus does need to be consultations on your calendar. I'm really blessed because I have 12 more discovery sessions for the rest of this month, and several people trying to book today as well. I actually had to open up more spots on my calendar, and I want you to have that problem. That's a good problem to have. So check out the sales program if that's something that you really need support on. I'll post the link one more time before we end. And then my next Blab, if you subscribe to me, you'll see that my next Blab is it's Friday at noon Pacific, and I already have a title for it. I'm going to be talking about how to convert clients using Soulful Sales. So it'll be basically part 2 of today. So if you like the tips that I gave today, you'll get some more tips. about actually how to handle objections and things like that. So, hey, Taylor. Hey, Jackie. Please go ahead and subscribe to, oh, you do data entry for a lawyer. Awesome. That's cool, Gracie. I bet that's a really valuable service. Do you do that for a lot of lawyers or just for one? Let me know. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to wrap up this blab, but this coming Friday, noon Pacific, that's when I'm doing the next one. So definitely follow me, subscribe, and that will allow you to be alerted. On Friday, Blab will send you a little message when I go live. And so I'd love to have you on there. Vibration Upgrade, I love that name. That is so cool. We're just ending, so please catch the replay. Follow me. I'll definitely check you guys out, Vibration Upgrade. And hey, Nick, I'll check you guys out and follow you as well. One thing that you can do is follow the other people that are in this blab. That really supports other people and allows us to create more of a community and more connection. So yeah, I'll check you guys out. Nick, thanks for joining. I'm going to follow you now as well. And I can't wait to see you guys on Friday. I'm going to talk more about how to convert your discovery sessions into new happy clients. Okay, bye everybody. Thanks so much for being here with